Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Today I had a little dating advice for you because something came up with a client, and whenever that happens, I think, oh, I really want to share it with you as well. And what happened to her was that a date she went on yesterday started off rather rocky. He had had a really bad thing happen at work. There had been some trouble, so he came in already in a sort of annoyed mood and not really open to what the experience was going to be. And she had to endure for quite a few minutes at the beginning of the date, a good half hour or so, to listen to him vent. And certainly if someone's had a bad day, you want to have empathy and let them get it out. You are the first person they're probably seeing after a work day if you're meeting for a cocktail after work. And she did let him go on, but it kept going on and on. And this is advice that I often give to clients whose dates are hijacked by a multitude of things. Sometimes you'll find a fella who's I'm thinking back to different stories. Gal had been out with a fellow who was in the middle of selling his house, so he wanted to talk about that incessantly. There was somebody else who had just had a job interview, and it kind of hijacked them getting to know one another because he was preoccupied. And this can happen with a lot of things. Sometimes people talk too much about something I don't recommend people talk about on a date, and that is maybe their ex or their divorce or a bad relationship they just got out of. Things that are inappropriate for first date conversation, but somehow they sneak in on occasion. And when that happens, what do? How do you change the dynamic and get the conversation moving in a different direction? If you are new here, maybe you did not know, but I am a dating coach and a matchmaker in the Chicago area, and this is what I tell my clients. This is the tool, the hack that I offer them, and I make them get out their pen, I make them get out their pencil, and I have them write this down and then commit it to memory, because it is a life-saving tool on a date, on certain dates, that can totally change the course of the entire date. So get your pens. Here's what it is. Doesn't matter what he said, where you are in the conversation. At some point, you take a beat, whether that's moving or leaning back in your chair, changing your posture, maybe just leaning in, and you say this. You know, something you just said reminded me about this time. ... That's it. It seems so simple, but it's genius, if I do say so myself, in that nobody can argue with you what they said. You're not saying what they said that made you think of this next story you're about to lead with. And nobody can argue that your mind didn't go wherever it went. So something you just said reminded me about this time. And what do you pull out here for this story that you're about to embark in that's going to take this date in a different direction? This is an interesting thing, because what I want it to be is this. If I were to have you and your best friend over to my house for coffee, at some point during the conversation, you would start telling me a story, and your friend would say, oh my gosh, not this story again. And that's the story I want you to tell. I ask my clients to harness those stories, the ones you tell over and over again. Why do you tell them over and over? Because you think they're funny, or it brings back good memories, or you enjoy telling it, or it shows your sense of humor. Whatever it is, when you tell those stories in your day-to-day life, jot them down or put them in your phone in a little notebook to remind you that these are your stories. And if you can have them at the ready to pull out on a moment's notice, to insert into a conversation on a date like this, where it's being hijacked by something that was nobody's original intention, and you can start in on one of those stories. Something you just said reminded me about this time I was in Punta Cana and my luggage got stolen, and there you are. You're off and running. We're no longer talking about the fact that he thinks he's going to lose his job tomorrow, and you're sharing a funny story that is entertaining to you, that you enjoy telling, and who knows where that will lead him. What will that encourage him to share about his travels? I'll do a video too about some of the questions and the way to ask questions of your date. But for now, I'd like you to take this moment to focus on some of those stories that you like to share with people that tell a little bit more about who you are than if that person were just asking you interview style questions and getting to know the bare basics about you. Sharing stories and opening up with a full-fledged entertaining story is a much better way to get to know somebody than an interview. So think about that. If you have any other tips or tricks on how to change the course of a date when it seems to be going like this, I would certainly love to hear them. And I would then be very grateful because I would pass them along to my clients and help improve their dating lives as well. I hope that was helpful to you. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up before you go and start writing down some of your stories. I bet you it'll take a while for a bunch of them to come to you. Now that you're looking for them, you will be amazed how many stories you have that you tell over and over again. It's kind of interesting to figure out why you tell these stories over and over again. Really, really interesting. Please hit that ring bell button and subscribe to my channel so that we can spend time again in the future and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. I truly appreciate you stopping by to spend time here. Love to hear your thoughts, your tips, your tricks, your comments, questions. Absolutely, I'm here for it. So I look forward to the next time. Thank you again. Have a good one.